All right, folks, welcome into the AfterSchrock show. It's becoming painfully obvious that I need an hour and a half because we didn't get to any of the stories I had lined up. Now, last week, I had no callers, and literally it was like I had more time than stories. I was literally running out of things to talk about. Today, I feel like an hour went by and I didn't do anything. Like literally, we just took calls and helped people out and talked about free pickup and free drop off. Apparently, so yeah, that was pretty popular. So let's jump into these stories here real quick. All right, so starting with the MacBook, the 2018 MacBook Pro has a problem with overheating. This is one of the things that happens when you jack a product basically with it's almost a rushed update. Updating a processor in a laptop is not that difficult to do. So if you want to give a quick juice to a product that people are upset that hasn't gotten an update, you can update the processor usually pretty easily without changing out a whole lot of stuff with the motherboard and everything. So that's what Apple did with the MacBook Pro. They gave it an i9 processor. The i9 processor offers very little additional processing power over an i7. It's definitely not worth the extra money between the difference between the i7 and the i9, unless you were in the top 1% of performance-seeking users, where that's a really big concern to you. Excuse me. So the 2018 MacBook Pro might be fast, but all that Core i9 processor power is useless if the system can't cope with the heat it generates and has to throttle the performance as a result. So that's what's going on here. Basically, the MacBook gets so hot that the processor starts to overheat, and so it slows itself down to lower the heat. And then once the heat is lower, it'll speed back up again. This is all computing devices do this. Everything from laptops to Bitcoin miners to everything does this stuff. So you're going to see that if you buy the new MacBook, you could have some serious issues with overheating problems. Testing was carried out using Cinebench R15, and this too showed significant performance throttling after only a few minutes of running. A Redditor by the name of ARE found that after only a few minutes of running Prime 95, which is what we use in the service center to do load testing, it's a prime number calculator that's used for benchmarking and stress testing systems. The new MacBook Pro, equipped with an Intel Core i9 chip, had throttled down from its base clock speed of 2.9 gigahertz all the way down to 800 megahertz. Now let's put this in historical perspective. What were we doing when we had computers that were at 800 megahertz? Let's see, that would have been, well, the Duron was a 450. That's when we were with one service center. Funny story about the Duron I'll have to tell you about sometime. Sent some press releases out on that one. So 800 megahertz would have probably been the first Athlon chips. So that would have been like 2002. So yeah, that's a 2002 computer. So your MacBook Pro, which is a $5,000 laptop, gets throttled down to a 2002 era laptop after a few minutes of running hard. All right, think this was a random result based on a single system put down to faulty hardware? Think again. Multiple people are benchmarking and showing that this is happening. He carried out a rendering test using Adobe Premiere, putting the Core i9 MacBook 2018 Pro against an Aero 15X laptop with a Core i7 chip and a MacBook Pro he purchased last year with an i7 chip. So here we have two i7 computers against an i9 computer doing Final Cut. So Prime 95, you could argue that Prime 95 is like, okay, no one's going to push the computer that hard, but this is what these MacBooks are designed to do. This is rendering video. The 2018 MacBook Pro took 40 minutes to render the video, while the older Core i7 MacBook only took 35 minutes. So the new MacBook, the $5,000 MacBook, is actually slower than the old MacBook Pro. There you go. So before you buy one, make sure they solve these thermal issues. The problem with solving a thermal issue is it's a design problem. They didn't change the design of the MacBook. They just put a bigger processor in it. They didn't give it better fans, better heat sinks, anything like that. I would not buy one of these right now, guys. This is not a good buy. All right, so Darren has asked here, who is the best internet service carrier, mobile carrier? That's another story I didn't get to. Basically, JD Power says Verizon is the best overall. But it depends on where you're at. So here's the deal. When it comes to the company that's the best mobile carrier, it's a technical and a marketing debate, as we all see the asterisk, asterisk, plus, plus on the movie theater screens. In this study, J.D. Power looked at call quality, data quality, and texting as reported by 36,320 wireless customers. That's a random number. How'd they get to that? Between January and June. So in other words, they used a 6-month period over 36,000 different people. So that there's not a possibility that only people with good phones were tested, or maybe somebody had a network event that month that caused their network reliability to drop very briefly, but affected the study. This was a 6-month study. They measured network performance in terms of network quality problems per 100 connections. While nobody was perfect, nobody was even close to perfect, Verizon had fewer problems by and large than other carriers. All right. Network operators have taken notice of consumers' frustration with network quality and performance. Their efforts are showing up in study results. Verizon proved to have the least number of problems in all regions except for the North Central region, where U.S. Cellular tied Verizon. AT&T and T-Mobile were in the middle. Sprint, except for the Southeast, and where it and AT&T were tied, was last place. You guys, Schrock Innovations has a corporate agreement with Sprint. So we have all of our phones, and I have a data plan with Sprint that gets me unlimited data without throttling on all my devices for a flat rate every month. And it's not like the flat rate that you pay now. So for like 6 phones, I'm paying $350 a month. I'm never going to give up that plan. But again, I deal with Sprint's reliability issues. When I'm in the Omaha Service Center, half the time my darn phone doesn't work. At Village Point, it has terrible connection problems. But if you go to Kansas City, where Sprint is located, all of a sudden your phone is a beast in Kansas City. So it's amazing. Of course, there's more than one way to measure performance. If it's all about speed, that's one way. In the fine print, though, despite defeating Verizon in overall speeds across the country, T-Mobile was the fastest in just 33 cities, and Verizon won in 45 cities. AT&T was fastest in 12 cities, while Sprint won in 5 cities. Overall, Sprint once more found itself in last place. But you see, you're still going to see ads on the theater screen that says Sprint has the fastest connections available, and it'll say asterisk, asterisk in Kansas City. But you'll see, but no one reads the asterisk, right? I'll also add that it very much depends on where you live. For example, my hometown of Asheville, North Carolina, Verizon is really the only show in town. Before making a decision based on generalities, make sure you know your local specifics before signing a mobile contract. So if you're in Kansas City, get Sprint. It's not going to be last place there. In Omaha, Sprint's last place. I have Sprint. I mean, I make calls, I get texts. It does the job. But compared to Verizon, Verizon has a much higher quality product, but you pay a lot more for it. So there you go. So hope that answers the question, Darren. Sorry I didn't get to it during the program. I'm trying to squeeze it all in. They give me an hour, and I had a lot of new stuff to cover today. All right, so we just talked in the show about how the Huawei, I gotta figure out how to say that. Maybe I can Google it. Hold on a second. All right. Pronounce that word. It's pronounced Huawei. That sounds fake. Come on. Huawei at least sounds like a company name. Huawei. It sounds like something my son would say. He's like 4 months old. Okay. The gadget company with the industry's most unpronounceable name got tired of everyone saying it wrong and decided to make this video on how to explain it. The video sees a guy wandering around Times Square in New York with a Huawei sign, asking people how they would pronounce it. How do you say Huawei? Okay, we're going to post that video later. But anyway, so it's Huawei. So we just talked about how Huawei has all these great security, cybersecurity. Everything is amazing. Everything is awesome. Wow, great. Well, guess what? An Internet of Things hacker builds a Huawei-based botnet, enslaving 18,000 devices in a single day. A hacker took only 24 hours to build a botnet, 18,000 devices strong. How long does it take to build a botnet? 24 hours. First spotted by researchers from New Sky Security as reported on Bleeping Computer, it's a security forum. Quickly jumped on the case. The security teams realized there had been a huge recent uptick in Huawei device scanning. The traffic surge was due to scans seeking devices vulnerable to a specific vulnerability, which can be exploited through a specific port. Scans to find routers vulnerable to the issue began in July. Huawei makes routers, apparently. If a Huawei router is exploited in this fashion, attackers can send malicious data, malicious packets. I got a malicious packet for you. Launch all kinds of attacks through the device, remotely install code, do all the stuff that hackers do. Botnets are the creation of vast networks of enslaved devices. Liberate our devices. After the source code was released to the public in 2015, botnets were found. So basically, in this case, this is a case of a new Huawei-based botnet. A hacker calling himself Anarchy has claimed responsibility. He used the vulnerability from 2017 to compromise 18,000 Huawei routers. So these are not cell phones, these are routers. And the reason they were compromised, guys, is because people didn't patch them. Routers need patches. So when we come on site to do work at your home, ask us to check and see if there is a patch for your router. Now, if we're doing a free pickup and drop off, my guys are told that if there's something they can do for you in 2 minutes or less, to go ahead and do it. A lot of people will request during the free pickup and drop off. A free pickup and drop off is supposed to be ding dong, here's your computer, like a pizza delivery, right? But some people will be like, can you carry it in and hook it up for me? It just takes a minute. Of course we'll do that for you. Don't worry about it. We plug it all in. Then we turn it on. Oh, well, my printer has had this problem. Then we start getting like the rabbit hole happens. And then we're like, okay, I can stay and work on it, but I got to charge you an hour of labor, of on-site labor to be here. But when if we're on-site doing something at your house anyway, ask us to check the security of your router to make sure that you've got all your patches updated, because they don't automatically update. I have no idea why. Wouldn't be this. Why not? But they don't. So as a result, you have to manually update them, and a lot of people don't know how to do it. So next time we're at your house, ask us to do that for you. All righty. Huawei. Yep, Huawei. Huawei. See, how somebody could have won $25 calling in and saying Huawei, and I would have not believed them. It would have been funny. All right, so next up, this old ransomware has been revamped as Bitcoin stealing malware. Jigsaw appears to be back with new malicious intentions, with a simple but effective trick to go after cryptocurrency. Little of the malicious code has been changed, so a number of security products still identify it as the file locking malware. This was a ransomware back in the day, despite this version's new role in outright stealing cryptocurrency. Detailed by researchers at Fortinet, I thought it said Fortnite at first. This Bitcoin stealing campaign has its origination in Jigsaw, which we've already said. Blah, 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 blah. It displays the face of horror film antagonist it's named after. Okay. It is after a horror film. We said that on the show. It sounds like a horror film. The source code of Jigsaw has been available for a long time, and it's widely distributed online, so the attack is unlikely to be the work of an original, real guy. This is called a script kiddie, somebody who takes an existing virus. They're not good enough to make a virus, but they're good enough to tweak one. And so they go in there and they tweak it and they re-release it as something new. In this instance, the author is looking to take advantage of the popular blockchain-based Bitcoin. References for the code simply refer to the measure as Bitcoin stealer, although this is uncovered by some reverse engineering. The main goal of the malware is to modify the clipboard content of Bitcoin wallets so that the currency ends up in the hands of attackers. Now, how does this work? For those of you who have never sent or received Bitcoin before, you have a wallet on your computer. A wallet is a fancy word for a program, just like your online bank account, that tells you how much Bitcoin you have in your wallet. When you want to send Bitcoin to somebody, you send it to an address, just like an account number. Now, most bank account numbers are like 9 digits long. So you jot it down. It's another way. A Bitcoin address is like 200 digits long. It's ridiculous. So you're not going to write that down. And it's case sensitive, uppercase, lowercase. You're going to copy that to your clipboard. And so most Bitcoin wallets give you a nifty little button that says click to copy to the clipboard. And then you copy that to the clipboard, and then you send your Bitcoin to that address. If I can attack your clipboard to replace whatever address you just click copy on, to paste in my address. So I watch your clipboard, and anytime you copy any Bitcoin address, I replace the contents of your clipboard with my Bitcoin address. Then you go back to your program and you paste the address in, and you just copied and pasted it. You didn't even look at it. So you just copied and pasted it, and then you said, okay, Bitcoins, and you click send. And then you send me Bitcoins. And you're waiting for your product to show up, and you're like, where's that stuff I ordered with my Bitcoin? And you look, and it says you never paid. But you can look at your wallet and see I paid right here. But then all of a sudden you realize, oh, the address was wrong. And you have that sinking feeling that you're like, oh my gosh, I just lost a lot of money. That's what this guy does. So if you don't play with Bitcoin, you don't got to worry about this one, which is why it was kind of on the bottom of the stack for the radio show. because a lot of our listeners don't mess with Bitcoin. But if you do have a Bitcoin wallet on your computer, this is just a friendly reminder that when you're copying and pasting addresses, make sure that the address matches before you click send. Just check the last few digits. That's all you have to do, just to make sure it matches. All right. So with that said, guys, this is open floor. If you have any questions, something we didn't ask during the show that you'd like to ask now, this is your opportunity to do so. The show today was unusually busy, which is nice to see. A lot of people are coming back from vacations. That's why this time of year is slow. Everybody's out of town. So people are coming back from vacations. They're getting back into town. The service centers are going to really start getting busy here next week. So take this moment as an opportunity. Like I said, if you have one of those prepaid maintenance certificates, I feel like I'm Mr. Rogers here. I'm like, he gets in, he takes off his shoes and changes his sweater. I'm like winding up my headphones while I talk and putting them away, all nice and neat. We zip the case up like this. There we go. And I put it on the shelf. No, but if you have any questions, now's the time to ask it. The service centers are going to get busy next week. While I'm waiting to see as everybody catches up here and asks any questions they might have, I'm going to post a link here on Facebook. If you'd be so kind, I would sincerely appreciate it if you could vote for us in the Best of Omaha competition. All you have to do is click the link. And this is a quick vote code, so it will automatically log your vote for Schrock Innovations. Click the link, and then you have to vote for like 5 other things. If you're not in the Omaha metro area, I don't care. You can vote anyway. You can pick out whatever national chain restaurants you like to vote for, because you have to vote for like 5 things, and then it'll go through. All right. Alexis, good morning, Thor. I try to watch your webcast when I can. I work overnight. I find a lot of your info very helpful. Thank you. Thank you, Alexis. I would be remiss if I did not point out that Alexis is my son's birth mother. My son is adopted. Jacob's adopted, and Alexis is his birth mother. We'd love to hear from you, Alexi. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you joining us. It's good to talk to you. All right, so any other questions we've got? Now's the time, folks. I'm waiting. Oh, I'm sorry, you're all voting. Oh, gosh, that's rude of me to interrupt you while you're voting. Sorry about that. Now, here's the funny thing. Okay, so previous years, we didn't talk about the Best of Omaha. This year, so last year, we didn't talk about it at all. We just kind of like, it'll do what it does. And we didn't win. Like, we did not win. We didn't place first, second, or third, which was like, we had competitors literally laughing at us on social media because, oh, there's Schrock and their big fancy radio show and they didn't get in place. And it was like, wow, that's kind of embarrassing. But all politics is local. If you don't ask for the vote, no one's going to vote for you. So this is me asking you for the vote because I really don't want to get laughed at by my competitors again this year. It was kind of embarrassing. We won all the other ones. We just didn't win Best of Omaha. But here's the big thing about Best of Omaha, guys. The Best of Omaha, if we win that, we then have the opportunity to purchase, for lots of money, a table at the Best of Omaha trade show. And at that trade show, we give away lots of loot. I am literally hoarding things to give away. Got a $99 set of earbuds. And these are just things that we get bonus, like from our vendors. Like, hey, Thor, check these out. Maybe you want to sell these in your computer repair store. Why would I sell earbuds in my computer repair store? Like fitness earbuds. That's stupid. Why would I do that? But I'll take your free fitness $100 earbuds. Oh, okay. I don't know why I would spend $100 on earbuds, but I have $30 ones that work just fine. They're Bluetooth. I run with them. They're great. Not going to mess with it. But I'll keep those new in the box. I won't put them in my ears because that's gross. But I'll keep them new in the box. And when we do the Best of Omaha show, I will give them away to somebody who will be like, oh, I've always wanted a pair of $100 earbuds. This is amazing. I would have never bought them for myself. So these little things, I keep them all year long, waiting for the Best of Omaha show. But last year we didn't win, so we did not have the opportunity to purchase for significant sums of money. We didn't get to go. So I have all this stuff left over. And so now I've got this big pile of loot, and I want to give it away, but I can't give it away unless you vote. So take a moment, vote right down here. Right there, click on the link, vote for us, Best of Omaha, and then we'll give away a lot of loot. I don't know, we'll find some way to do it on Facebook too, because we have lots of listeners who are going to vote for us from outside of Nebraska, so it's not really fair that we just give it away at a trade show in Omaha. Boy, the logistics guys behind this Des Moines thing are mind-bending. Oh my gosh. So like if we sell preventative maintenance checkup certificates on the show and people in Des Moines buy them, how in the world are we going to do that? I mean, are we going to have to try to figure out a way to do like a pseudo maintenance checkup over the Schrock desk? I mean, that's going to be, we can't obviously blow out your computer, test your power supply, inspect your capacitors, test your USB ports or your DVD drive if we are over the internet. We can't do those things. So that right there is a big chunk. We can use Drive Advisor to test your hard drive. We can run a Windows-based memory test. So we can do those things. We can do all the cleanup and the updates and everything. But realistically, it's kind of a pseudo. You get a much better checkup in the service center than you would over the Schrock desk. But I mean, people are going to buy it in Des Moines. They're going to hear the radio show. They're going to buy the certificate. They're not going to realize we don't have a service center in Des Moines, even though I said it during the show. Even though I said during the show that we will not do pickup and drop off outside of a 30-mile radius of the nearest service center, I'm going to have people calling from, literally from Columbus, Nebraska, saying, can you come out and do a pickup? It's going to happen. From Stromsburg, Nebraska, can you come out and do a pickup? From Ames, Iowa, can you come out and do a pickup? I'm going to get these calls. No, we can't. And then people get upset. Well, I'm disabled. How am I supposed to bring it in? Sorry. So even though we say it on the air, it doesn't mean people always hear it. The other thing that has been kind of a problem is, I guess, a lot of people, we did one preventative maintenance checkup this year, one instead of two. And as a result, we said, if you're going to do it now. If you want to get two, because you're supposed to get one every 6 months, do one now and buy a certificate for one for 6 months from now. Then you can get your two in a year, right? Well, we didn't send out phone calls this time because we got a lot of feedback from people. They didn't want to get the phone calls about the maintenance checkup. Some people didn't even remember ever having their computers into Schrock Innovations. They didn't know who we were when we called them, and they got really ticked off as a result because we didn't call people who had been in the last 6 months. We only called people who had not been in the last 6 months because those are the people who need the maintenance checkups. And as a result, what ended up happening was we just didn't do calls after that the next time around. We got people who have called us subsequently, like, when are you going to do your checkup anyway? We haven't heard about it. And then we tell them we already did it and it's done for the year. And they get mad, like spitting mad. You didn't call me. And we're like, oh my gosh, it costs me $1 a call to call people. So we have a 22,000 customer database. So sending out the robocalls is expensive when we send them out to everybody. And when I get feedback that people don't want the calls, they don't want me to spend the 22 grand to call them, calling me silly, maybe I won't spend the 22 grand, okay? But then, some people want the calls and some people don't want the calls, and it's frustrating. So I don't know if we're going to do another one or not, guys. We're going to kind of see how the cookie crumbles there a little bit. All right, we miss you too, Lexi. All right. You don't need prizes to vote for us. Thank you, Alexis. I appreciate it. All right, Roger Thor, can I ship my laptop to you for a preventative maintenance checkup? You absolutely can, Roger. In fact, though, if you want to, one of the things that like I said, we can do a pseudo checkup over the Schrock desk. The only things we can't do, we can't blow out in a laptop, blow out the cooling fans. That's one of the big things that you really should do on a laptop minimum once a year to make sure that they are free of lint. Now, if you have a can of compressed air, you can do that yourself at home. You don't have to open the laptop up to do it, but everything else we can do over the Schrock desk. So before we ship the laptop back and forth for a maintenance check, we might want to try doing the pseudo one over the Schrock desk first. That is not an official product. We in-house will, so if a computer comes in and the customer's like, I don't want a maintenance checkup, I don't want to buy that, and we get it in and the thing is like 16 million problems and we're like, we need a baseline to work from, I'll tell the guys, do a pseudo maintenance checkup. That means do a poor man's maintenance checkup. Go through and do the quick tests that we can do. Don't do like the 8-hour test, but do the quick tests so we can figure out what's broken and then move forward. So we have, the guys will know what a pseudo maintenance checkup is, but we don't know how to charge for that. Do we charge as a maintenance checkup? Because it's technically over the Schrock desk, which is the same as hourly labor. So we charge $110 an hour, and the maintenance check is going to take like 2.5, 3 hours. So you really wouldn't want to spend $300. You'd want to ship that. So we have some work to do internally where we figure some of this stuff out. We have 8 Schrock desk seats total. So that's how many customers we can serve at one time on the Schrock desk between the 3 service centers. It's going to be difficult to do maintenance checkups 8 at a time. Not to mention the fact that if we're using all 8 seats for maintenance checkups, we have no seats available for corporate customers or people who are Schrock desk subscribers who are paying monthly that $30 a month to have the help service. They don't have any time to call in, basically. So there's some logistics that are involved in figuring this out. And bear with us as the weeks go by here. We'll get them all knocked out for you. No problem, Wendell. I love doing the show. This is the highlight of my week. All week long, I look forward to Sunday so that I can come in here and do this program. And I just love it. All right, Roger has a solid state in it, so that's good. That'll save us a lot of the testing time as the hard drive test, the surface test. We don't need to do the surface test on a solid state because, it either works or it doesn't. It's binary, and if it doesn't work, we know it. And the smart status would tell us if it's not working. So that's good news there. All right. Yeah, absolutely. People can ship us computers all the time. Our addresses are on our website at schrockinnovations.com. One thing we do ask, though, is if you're going to ship us a computer, right now, with the current website that we have, we do not have a mechanism in place for you to create a work order to ship us a computer. So sometimes we come into work Monday, and the UPS guy walks in and just drops off a computer, and we're like, what the hell is this? Do we order this for parts for somebody? Because sometimes somebody needs a really special part that's not made anymore. We have to buy it used. Sometimes it's actually cheaper to buy like a whole computer that has something else broken in it than it is to buy the one part you need. So we get this computer and we're like, what is this? And there's like a business card taped to it, and that's it. So if you're going to send us a computer, give us a call. Just give us a heads up. I mean, we're still pretty small shop guys within the 3 service centers. I guess we're not. I shouldn't say we're pretty small, but we're small enough that we're like, what is this? And Alfonso, it's the guys at Schrock Interactive are building a brand new online system for us that is going to be in place by the time we move our service centers, or not move, but open a service center in Des Moines. So that way everything will be synchronized together for data recovery, for shipping of computers in and out, everything along those lines. We've talked about, for Des Moines, do we pay shipping both ways? If you want to get us to work on a computer, do you ship it to us, then we ship it back to you? How fast do we ship it? Do we send you a box, or do we ask you to pack it? What happens if you pack it badly and it breaks when it's coming to us? When we get it, we know that it's broken coming out of the box. All of a sudden, that means you have to file a UPS claim. Did you insure it? Did you not insure it? I mean, do we send you a prepaid shipping label for 2-day shipping with insurance so that everything is covered on our end? We buy the label, and then you're sending it to us, so we're the shipper and the receiver. Then if anything breaks, we make the insurance claim. So we fix it for you, and then we make a claim and get our money back later. I mean, there's some logistics involved, but we're working through them, guys, and we'll figure it out. All right. It's a 9-year-old Sony Vaio. Wow, 9-year-old Vaio? It's going to be slow because probably the 9-year-old Vaio by now, Roger, if we're going to work on that, I would have you send it to us, honestly. A 9-year-old Vaio right now, the biggest concern I would have is heat. If it's running really, really hot, the heat pipes may have lost their ability to cool, and we might want to check that. If that's the problem it's having, I would probably send that one in. All right. I've got to roll, guys. Got to get home, get to the fam. But thank you very much for joining us on the program. It was great to see and talk with all of you. Love doing the show. I hope you like the new theme music at the start of the show. I think we're going to stick with it and see how it goes out. Next week will be the first show. This week was a little weird for me because I was trying to get into that explanation mode again, where I'm explaining everything in detail because people don't know. Where I've been talking with you guys for 8 years. You guys know what a defrag is. I haven't had to explain that in 8 years. And I feel bad because I'm like, people move in all the time. Poor people listening to the radio. I can't assume that everybody has been listening for 8 years. I can't punish people for not listening for 8 years, can I? So, golly. So it's gonna be a fun ride next week. So next week is the first show that we're going to record that is going to be played the following Sunday in Des Moines. So it's a week tape delayed to Des Moines. So those of you listening from Des Moines on Facebook, it's a week tape delayed. But you'll hear the show next week, which is why I don't talk about dates and stuff like that on the program. Also, stay tuned on our Facebook page, facebook.com/SchrockInnovations. Make sure you click like. We'll post all the stories from the show this week so that you can take a look at them as time allows if you want to read them in more detail. Thanks for joining us, guys. Have a great weekend. Enjoy it. We'll see you again next Sunday for Compute This.